Welcome, everybody, to the Build a Vibrant Culture podcast. My name is Nicole Greer, and they call me the Vibrant Coach. And I have yet another amazing guest and author, Lee Caraher. She is a communication strategist, a CEO, an author, and a professional straight talker. I love this gal. Known for her practical solutions to big problems, her success as a communication strategist is rooted in her experience leading her PR firm, Double Forte. Write that down. A national communications agency serving well-known consumer, tech, financial, and food and beverage brands. And we had a whole talk before we got started about Tarani. Did I say it right?
You
Okay.
did.
And I bet you have been to the grocery store, to the TJ Maxx, and you have this in your cupboard. So anyway,
hmm
she's part of
Add
that
a few
success.
pumps, people.
That's right.
2 pumps goes a long way.
That's right. The majority of her hands on work focused on helping organizations achieve their business goals through communication. Hello. And equipping leaders with the confidence and tools to say what they really mean, especially when stakes are high. Lee is the author of Millennials in Management, which came out of her own hard earned lessons, trying and sometimes failing to build and retain intergenerational teams. Her second book, The Boomerang Principle, makes the case that actively seeking former employees is to return to an undervalued strategy for long term success. Affectionately called the Team Whisperer, Lee is credited for building strong, productive teams that work hard, laugh a lot, I love that, and don't hide behind industry jargon. She believes communication isn't a soft skill, it's the glue that holds leadership, culture, and performance together. Outside of client work, she is active in nonprofit leadership, limiting her service to 2 boards at a time, and advises organizations on governance and board effectiveness. She has a degree in medieval history. That is so cool. From Carleton, is that right?
Correct.
Carleton College, which she finds useful every day. Okay, because we can learn from people's mistakes. Let's see. After 25 years in the San Francisco Bay Area, Lee now lives in northwestern Wisconsin with her family and several four-legged friends of varying heights. So tell us about the pets real quick, because all of us pet
I
people
have
are
a
curious.
black cat, Stella. She's the shortest. I have a
Stella!
Stella. Exactly. That's how she got her name. Ace is our dog, who's around 95 pounds. He's a lab and a corgi. I
Oh my
don't know how
gosh.
that worked. And I have a 17-2 draft horse named Merlin.
Oh my gosh, that's
So I
so
have
cool. You have a horsey.
varying heights of animals. Yeah.
That's so great. All right. Well, I love all that, and people love to know a little bit about my guests. So, hey, look what Lee sent me in the mail, everybody. The Boomerang Principle: inspire lifetime loyalty from your employees. So, I think that's what we're looking for. Everything I read, Lee, everything I get from the SHRM, the Society for Human Resource
Good.
Management, it's all about disengagement, disengagement. So,
hmm
tell me about the Boomerang Principle. Give us the 100,000 foot view, and
Sure.
then let's get into it.
So the boomerang principle is that if you are a company or in a team that actively rehires people who have left you, you are freaking winning. Because what does that say? That says that you let them go in a generous way to go do something that you could not provide for them. And they went out into the world and they learned new things. And they're like, I want to go back to that place because that place was awesome. And I have new things I can bring to that place. And then when you bring them back, what does it say to your current people? That grass, we are watering our grass right here, people. It
That's
may
right.
look greener, but you just, it's because they're so close. You can't see how much we're watering our grass. And so that is the idea, is that when you are a company that actively recruits former employees and brings them back, you have a strategic advantage over everybody else. And I got a lot of data on that.
Okay. Throw some data at us. We'd like to hear it. What
Okay.
what
So let's talk about
what does
so
the
let's
statistics say?
let's talk about onboarding. So
Okay.
on onboarding, it takes a year. Sherm would tell you that it takes maybe shorter than that, but they're lying. It takes a year for someone to be
Absolutely.
fully engaged, fully understand the culture, fully get the lexicon, fully jam in on all things, no matter how good they are, no matter what their expertise is, no matter what their attitude, you need a great attitude. But it takes about a year to be fully on all cylinders. So, number one. Number two, particularly younger people. they expect to live till 120. And they also expect that they're going to have 6, 7, 8 careers. So the fallacy that we think, oh, we can have this great person for the rest of their lives is just so ridiculous. But but when and your company, no matter what it is going to evolve. Whatever it is today, it's going to look different tomorrow. I started my PR firm before Twitter. Do you think we haven't changed 95 times since then?
Oh,
Hello,
25
right?
times.
Oh my gosh. So the data on people returning is that they're onboarding. It takes time, but it takes about 4 months, not 1 year. So you are just getting so much more productivity and contribution from that coming back. The other thing on that, this is soft data on this because it hasn't been fully vetted, but the impact of people returning keeps good people in your company longer. The retention, when you have a returning philosophy, of course, you're not taking everybody back, but if you have a returning philosophy, you retain good people longer.
Yeah, that's so good. And you talk about in chapter one the new loyalty paradigm, and you say
Mm,
loyalty is the quality or state of having a strong feeling of support or allegiance to a company or an organization has long been equated with the tenure of an employee. No
mm-hmm.
more. In
No
today's
more.
world, no more. In today's world where people expect to chart their own meaningful careers independent of a set time or entity, we need to shift our definition of loyalty. So
Yeah.
talk to me about that, this
Well,
definition.
sometimes I think the old way, you hear this all the time from people my age and older, like they're dead to me. They left. Well, leaving is not disloyal. Working is not this. You are paying someone, they are coming to work. That is not an act of loyalty. That is an act of hiring, an act of being employed. And hopefully they stay with you a long time because you were a good employer. But you are not loyal by staying. The most loyal thing you can do, an employee could do, is leave when they're not engaged and they don't want to be there anymore. That's the most loyal thing you can do because a person who doesn't, who, is not engaged brings everybody around them down. So the most loyal thing you can do is say, you know what, I want to do something different and I'd like to leave easily, meaning, how can I help you out? I'm not really sure what I want to do, or I'm going to go be a nurse. I've had some people leave Double Forte because they wanted to pursue a healthcare career. We are not a healthcare agency.
Right.
We don't operate on people. I cannot help them be nurses except for, okay, absolutely. How can you want to be a nurse? Awesome. This is actually a great example of loyalty. This
Okay.
woman wanted to be a nurse. She'd been with us. She had a degree in PR. She had a master's in communication. She said, I want to go be a nurse. Awesome. How can I support you? Because I can't do it here. Right. Well, Lee, I actually can't apply for school yet because I have to get some credentials first. Oh, well, do you need to work during those credentials? Yes. All right. Well, how about, well, you could stay here and go get your credentials, but we'd have to change your job, so it would work. But absolutely, if you want to stay here, we go get your credentials. We can make that work. So we did that. And she changed. So she was with us for another year, I guess, maybe 9 to 10 months. I can't remember. Well, she got her credentials and she applied and then she left. That woman has sent us 6 clients. That woman
Don't
has
miss
sent
that.
us 5 employees. She did not have to do any of that. That is the most loyal thing an employee can do. She told me she didn't want to be there. She told me she wasn't interested in. She told me she was going to leave to do something different. And when she did go, she has improved our business, not because I was expecting it, not because I compensated her, because she had a loyalty to the company and to Lee, I guess, for how we treated her.
Yeah,
That's the
absolutely.
loyal act. So we have to think long term. And we have to think long term, not in an ecosystem, not just ourselves, not just our own business, but how are we going to make sure that we have referrals later? It's not by chaining people to a desk because you can't, right? It's by understanding. And it is messy. I mean, that I did not describe something that is one simple or is nice neat boxes, right? You got to figure it out. But if you have the concept, you have good people and good people, you get them on a bus and then they want to get off the bus because they want to go to something, I want to go do something else. One, we should not be offended. Let's not be offended. And two, how can we help them? Not with the expectation that they would do something for us ever, because if you're waiting for that quid pro quo, that is not loyalty. but just putting that energy into the world, good things happen. So that's my idea about loyalty for the long term. And then what you have to do for that is you need an alumni group. You need to stay connected with them, but it's not a quid pro quo situation.
Right, right. And at the heart of what you're saying, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Lee, is that, this woman wouldn't have come to you and even told you that she's thinking about getting a healthcare career if she didn't trust you,
Right.
love you, care about you, and also had a relationship that you intentionally built with her, question
Yeah.
mark.
No, well, I think
Because most people just get it all
yeah.
together behind the scenes and then they drop the 2 week
Right.
notice, right?
By the way, well, I can't remember what chapter it's in, but it's in there somewhere. I meet with everybody. I don't hire everybody in my company. We're a small company, but I don't hire everybody. But I meet with everybody in their first week, right? And probably the second or third sentence out of my mouth is, "I know you're going to leave Double Forte. Hi, nice to see you. I know you're going to leave us." I mean, literally, it's probably not that stark, but it's in there. And that shocks people. But I just get it out on the table. There's no way my little company can retain great people for their whole lives unless we change and they along with them. And I anticipate change for everybody, right? It's going to happen. I know you're going to leave us. Here's what I hope is that you're with us for a very long time and that you get to explore lots of different things and that you'll share with us what it is you want to do so that we can do whatever we can to allow you to do that in the construct of our business. May not work, but we will always support you. Just know that. I say that in the first 5 minutes of every conversation. So it's sort of jarring. I
Yeah, but
just got here, you're telling me you're going to leave.
but don't you think people like kind of your back to your bio that I read,
I think they
your
do because
straight
it's
talk?
straight talk. It's like
Yeah, it's
I just
and
put it out there at the beginning because if we let's not have let's just put it out there. You're gonna leave. Now, sometimes we've had
right.
people who are like, I wish they said they were going to leave a little earlier because they didn't. They didn't, and I think I just said this, right? The loyal act is when you're not engaged, when you're not performing, when you're not doing your thing, you leave on your own volition. You figure out that you're not giving to get. So,
Yeah, don't
um,
make us write you up, please.
well, you know, yeah, basically write you up. Yes, we don't do that in our company because who would write us up? But yeah,
Right,
talk to
right.
HR. Oh, me. Okay, good.
Right. Yeah. Well, so you have this thing on page 12. We haven't got very far, but here's the thing.
Jam packed, people. This book is jam packed. We're on page 12.
It totally is. But you say what happened to the gold watch? So I was going to tell you.
Oh
I was
yeah,
going to tell you a story. So
please do.
the gold watch is not out there anymore. But I was working with this organization, and very sad in my heart. I'm just meeting these people. I'm coming in for the first time, and I said, "What do you all see in the future? What's the vision?" Which is basic, management leadership 101. Where are we
Yeah,
going, right?
yeah.
And all the leaders said to retirement.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be a long
I'm
day.
getting my book so I can even know what I said.
Okay,
Uh,
good. Get your book. But I was like, oh, this is going to be a long day because they all just want to retire. So anyway, I said, well, I went with the flow for the first 10 minutes because I'm just meeting these people. And I said, so tell me, what do people get when they retire from here that you all are so looking forward to? And they said, oh, they get us 2 rocking chairs from the Cracker Barrel. I was like, and that's what you're looking forward to? I bet you could go get your own rocking chairs today if you really want to rock. But I'm like, isn't that sad? Like, shouldn't we get people like bungee jumping equipment or roller
oh
skates
my
or
gosh.
something when they retire? So, I
Oh
think,
my gosh. Well, there you go. I prefer the idea of not rewarding, celebrating retirement. We actually haven't had anybody retire from us yet because we're not, they will soon, I guess. I'll tell you something that we do at Double Forte is
okay,
we reward tenure. So every year, this is relatively new policy for us. So we value tenure, and we have one of the highest retention rates in the country for an agency like us. So I was like, well, wow, since we value so much, why don't we do something about that? I talk about it a lot, but what would people like? People always want money. Everybody says they want money. I'm like, okay. So I was thinking, oh, do they get something? Do they get a little plaque? what do they get? Right. So first year, when you've made it one, you get a bobblehead and
Okay,
a bobblehead.
you got to be on the YouTube to see this, people.
So my bobble, this is what they gave me, a Superwoman bobblehead. But you get a bobblehead, and your team decides what your bobblehead should look like. So you get a bobblehead at one. And now, for every year you're with us on your anniversary of being with us, you get $200 for every year. So at year one, you get 200. At two, you get 400. At 10, you get 2,000. All that kind of stuff. So it's not. It's like a person. It's basically a full salary ish, maybe a little more than that for the year. But it's not enough for people to go, I'm holding on for that $400, right? I'm holding on for
Right.
$600. I'm holding on. It's not enough for people to hold on to, but it does honor the fact that they have choice. In a bad economy and a good economy, anybody good can find a job.
Oh, I believe
I
that.
only hire
I
good
believe that.
people. So all of my people could get a job tomorrow. I truly believe that. So if we honor and value, what can you do now? So we haven't had anyone retire yet, really. We've had people leave later in their careers to go do something else, but there was no gold watch involved. We had a party, celebration, but there was no big check. There were no cracker. I'd rather do that while they're with us than
That's right.
on the way out,
That's right.
right?
That's right. That's
And
right.
there's only so many resources we have,
Right.
So
Okay. So,
anyway, sorry,
no,
I
you're good.
digress.
You're good. No, but I love the idea of celebrating people, and I think a bobblehead. This week, weird. I've had two bobblehead demonstrations.
No.
Yes, I was teaching public speaking to a
Everybody
bunch.
loves the bobblehead people. Everybody loves them.
I was speaking to a group of like mid-level leaders that were
Uh
inside a
huh.
manufacturing facility, and this one young man, Justin, he like we did public speaking, so he had show and
Yeah.
tell, and he brought his bobblehead. So everybody likes the
Awesome.
bobblehead. I just saying. All right, so chapter 2, you talk about the Oprah effect, and you talk about
Yeah.
the evolution of loyalty from company to self to
Mm-hmm.
both. I really like this.
Yeah. So I don't think anyone has had a bigger impact on the workforce than Oprah Winfrey. Why? Because she had a show for 20 something years where she said, don't put up with shit. She didn't say it that way. And she was like, what do you want to do? What's yourself? Where do you get value?
Right, right.
And everything had been, so I highly align with my career. I highly align with my career. My identity is my career is part of my identity, but it is not all of my identity, as you said at the beginning when you read my bio, right?
Hmm.
And she did that for millions and mostly women, millions and millions of women are like, I don't have to put up with it. I can go do something else. And she sort of gave that spark, right? Of like, go read, go get a candle, go take a bath, all the things, right?
Right.
And particularly in the mid range of her show. And then you see that's when that if you look at the years of that, and then you look at the years of when particularly women who are in mid to sort of mid high jobs started moving, huge correlation. And when I queried on this, so I did some research. I had so many people come. I'm like, I'm looking for people who were inspired by Oprah to change their careers. I had over 400 ish, over 400 people wrote me, and I put this on a forum, right? Like, I want to be interviewed. I'm like, I can't interview 400 people,
That's
but they
right.
all had the same story. They had a different episode, but they all have the same story. So my belief is that no one has had a bigger impact on the workforce sort of than Oprah in terms of saying, what are your values and how do you align with this? And if it grates against your soul, don't do it, which is my philosophy. I never really watched Oprah. So so then we were like, okay, what am I about? What are my values? How do I align? What's my aura? All those things. So if women of a certain age, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then it's like, you know what? I have to work. I need to eat. I'm the breadwinner in my family, so I got to put a roof over my head. And then this concept of how do you align yourself with your work? And when we can align ourselves with our work, just just to say my target should be 80%. Oh my gosh, we are not working against our souls. We are not agitated all the time. We are not working against the man. or we've put it in context. I'm going to go do this 8 hours. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to go do something else. But when we intentionally say, my life is this is what I care about, that company does or does not align with me. I'm going to use it to get to something else or whatever. And we see a lot of this, right? And so that's also same time frame when values in companies became so much more important and not just posters on the wall. So Patrick Lencioni, who I also talk about in this book, who I highly just have so much
Yes.
esteem for.
Get the five dysfunctions going, everybody.
Yeah, well, that his book, The Advantage, which I highly recommend to
Oh, I love
everybody,
the
right?
advantage.
Well, that's the value book, which is not just like what's the freaking poster on the wall, but what it actually does excellence mean in your company.
Right.
Like get down to the brass tacks. And that's where you find how people align with what does a team mean. Like in our team is number one for our values. Well, it's everybody's, right? But when it for me, what that mean our company, and I didn't create these, we did this together. No one goes alone. That's the value. You don't leave your teammate hanging. We write that down. That's part of it. You don't leave us hanging. And so people know what the expectation of behavior is, right? But everyone has a little different one. So when you find people, a company that aligns with you, what you want to do in the world. So we don't work with assholes. Sorry to swore. That is a value of ours. Well, some people don't care if they work with assholes or not, as long as they can make a lot of money. I care. I care. I just, it grates on my soul. I can't do it. I will not choose that $1,000,000 if it's an asshole. I won't do it. That's a choice. That's a choice I can make because it's my own company. I couldn't make it in my last company because I work for somebody else, right? But the whole point is, if you know yourself well enough, and then you find a company that aligns with you, even just 80% is a lot, right? Get over 50%. Get to plus
Yeah.
50%. You are
Yeah.
in a
51.
but that's just life enhancing. And when it's life enhancing, it's actually productivity enhancing. Because what we know is the data says many things around this. One, teams that feel appreciated outperform those that don't up to 30%, which means 30 up to 30% more profit on your bottom line. Number one. Number two, those employees who are stressing out about particularly around finances, right? So they're probably at the bottom of the barrel of your workforce. They earn 7 hours a week on worry, which means that's 19% productivity lost. What if you just paid them 19% more? What if you would actually have a higher productivity with less people than you could actually do now? So when you get into the data on like the people, what it matters, like what impacts our performance, what impacts our productivity, what impacts our participation, it's pretty simple. Appreciate in many ways. Pay people what they're worth and do things and find people who are want to be in the same direction that you're going. Don't work against the grain.
Yeah. Going against the grain, not a good thing. All right. So you go on to talk about how personal and talent brands are happen at work, right?
Mhm.
And you say you need to create and maintain your own personal
Absolutely.
brand. Own your name, create a destination for potential employees, partners, and clients. Consider your photo and be helpful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, we also know don't count on the man, don't count on the woman. Business. I work for, I mean, I own an agency. We are dependent on clients paying us for us to pay people. It's not out of my control. What I can control is what contracts I sign. I can control who I hire. I can control our standards. Those are things I can control. I cannot control the economy. I cannot control if a client gets bought. I can't control if a client, if the CEO decides to do something stupid and loses his job, and therefore we lose our job because he brought us in. I
Right?
can't. I can control a lot. I
Me
can control
neither.
what I can control, right?
Hmm.
So in the world where you should not count on a company keeping you forever, I think every millennial and Gen Xer and Gen Z has learned this from their own parents, right?
Right.
Options for yourself are built on your own reputation. Reputation is brand. Personal brand is reputation. And being easy to find, being clear on what you bring to the world is super important if you want options. And then also, when you work for someone, this is part of the talent brand at work, who you work for reflects on you. Much as like what brand you wear. You like Nike? What? I like Adidas. It's the same thing with the brand of who you work for reflects on you. So if you're in a company that's shitty, get out. Because no one wants to hire someone who stayed when they knew it was bad. So that's your responsibility, right?
Right. Which goes back to
Own your name.
Oprah.
Oprah, absolutely. It's you. It's on you to manage this, right? So I tell everybody when they have a baby, get their name. So I have my name, my kids' names, MiracleCaraher.com, LiamCaraher.com, MichaelTCaraher.com. I have get all their names and then sign them up for all the social media platforms and then make them private and then give them to them when they're old enough. Because the more you can own your domain, the better it is for you.
Yeah, I bought
That's what that
all
is.
that for my kids. Yeah, absolutely. That's so good. All right, so I just want to say on page 34, there's this really great Venn diagram that everybody should take a peek at.
I'm going to
I
take a peek at it myself.
I love a Venn diagram. So it's got
Oh,
talent,
yeah.
talent brand, and personal brand. And honest to God, Lee, I coach a lot of people one on one, and people who are wanting to get ahead and get to the next
Mm-hmm.
level and grow their career, and they don't have this concept down. They're
Yeah.
more like, I can do PowerPoint. It's like everybody can do PowerPoint,
Everyone can do PowerPoint.
right?
AI
So
can do PowerPoint. Don't
that's
count on PowerPoint.
right, right. Yeah. You got to,
Yeah.
and it's about, again, what is it like to experience you, which all of you listeners know that's my favorite thing. So I just didn't want that to go past us. All right, let's go to the
Yeah.
next chapter. You talk about creating a culture of value, and
Mm-hmm.
you hit on already the core values, but I preach this all the time. So you got to have a vision, a mission, a purpose, individual purpose, and a role. And
Mm-hmm.
I would love for you to kind of talk about how to build a culture of value, but you've got
Mm-hmm.
to have these things totally dialed in. They're not just posters on the wall.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. So this is where I talk about communication being the culture.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
a few things. One is the worst behavior you allow is the culture. Number one. So
Yes.
you could say all the
Or
words
what
you
you
want.
tolerate, right?
Right, what you tell you can say all
Yeah.
the words in the world, but if you
Yes.
tolerate things that don't actually line up to what you're saying, it's
Mhm.
crap, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So, if we think about vision and values, it's what is the vision? Where are we going? What is our purpose in our world, right? Putting all the, and then bringing it all the way down. So this is the entity. This is our goal. This is the change we're going to make in the world. This is who we're going to impact. This is what we're bringing of value. And everyone should bring something of value. Then not just that, then your team. What team are you on? How do they contribute to that group?
That's right.
What is
To the
their
vision.
role?
Mhm.
What is the team's role? And then what is my role on the team that does this to the vision? Because there is no one who has a job that doesn't that does no one's hiring anybody just to sit around, people. Not
Right.
happening,
No,
right?
contribution, contribution.
Contribution management. We could talk about that all day. Is where
Okay.
we all need to get to. I didn't talk about that in the book, but
We could go off the
that's
board
my
for
next
20
book.
points.
That's my
Okay.
next book.
All right. Well, call me when it's done. All right.
But individual purpose and role, that's how you know that one, everyone needs to know exactly, and your team needs to know what your role is, right? Let's not assume someone's doing something when it's not their responsibility. This is where you get so much discord. I thought you were going to do it. I thought you were going to do it. What crap is that?
No.
The leader needs to communicate. And then we all lead. I would tell you that everybody leads.
100%. We're all
So
leaders.
the more good teams talk, man, good teams talk, and they are prescriptive. And we'd love to tell you that everyone gets it on the first try, but that's not true. So you need to repeat yourself, and then it's like when is this? We're promoting 2 people next week. I'm so excited about it. It's my favorite day is when we promote people, and it's not even my job, but it's my favorite day. But so their roles are going to change a little bit. So what changed on the team? You have to reset every time something changes. You're resetting all the time.
Yeah. Weekly,
But the
daily.
vision,
Hmm.
but the vision and the mission doesn't change. The team's role might change in that. I mean, we've seen a lot in technology right now. Teams are changing their purpose against the goal, but you need to be clear on what the hell that is. And so that is how, and then you need to reinforce it with appreciation and then opportunity and possibility for the culture of value is what is my opportunity in this role? Well, if I do my job well, this is what the team is going to benefit from this. The company's going to benefit from that. I am creating opportunity, right? I understand my purpose. And then what is the possibility for me to do other things? Am I just going to go up the chain? Most companies don't have chains anymore. They have
No,
lattices and layers and all the kind of things, right?
right.
But what
It's
are the
too flat.
possibilities?
Right, right,
But if your possibility and your opportunity is built by one, what company you're in, are they clear about what they're doing, right? And then
right.
two, your performance and your reaction, understanding your own role, being part of a team, so that you're not just an individual contributor on a team still has to pull the damn oar, right? Still has to sing the song. So, and then imagining how are these skills transferable? We are in a world I don't think we're ever going to get out of this world where I hope we don't, right? That skills are so transferable today.
Oh,
When you were a
yes.
secretary, you just were a secretary. You were typing. We don't have those anymore, right? We don't have people who are just in elevators punching buttons and going up. That whole career is gone. That doesn't mean those people didn't have transferable skills,
Oh, that's right. That's right. And it's actually kind of grieves you, doesn't it, to think about how long that guy was in that elevator when he could have been running the company, right?
right?
So, yeah. So
But
it's
but those guys who did that job, they were probably the glue in those buildings. They knew everything.
oh
It's
yeah,
sort of like
and they could have been whispering in the CEO's ear
oh
too when he's in the elevator,
oh
right?
yeah.
Right, or
I mean,
she.
or she, it's sort of the you don't hire anybody until you know how they treated the person who made the appointment.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's
Right?
exactly right. Yeah. Now, I do want to take a quick pause and go to page 46 and 47 because
Okay, I'm going.
I preach this all the time
Oh, good.
because core values can
Mm-hmm.
be very fluffy
Ugh.
to people. Okay. Now, one of the things that I do when I work on culture with people, when we're building a vibrant culture, is we'll go in and we will rework core values. They don't need to be aspirational. They need to be real, real. And so I'm going to point out on page 47 at Double Forte, which is Lee's company, one of her core values is we get shit done hyphen well. Okay. So I just want to tell you, I have a client in Detroit, Michigan, and his company, it's the same core value. That's what they decided on too. Get shit done,
Awesome.
which I think is so funny.
Maybe he read my book.
Oh, I don't know, but he's a big reader. Navo Sharesh is
we
his name.
we
Anyways,
get shit done well. You can
yeah,
get shit done, but if it's not well, why bother?
right, right. And he actually puts very high end electronics into homes. Like you walk in and say
Mm-hmm.
disco ball down, shades
Yeah.
up, music on, or whatever, and it just all happens. That's what he
Right.
does. But so it has to be done well, or people are going to complain. But if
Yeah.
you'll notice in here, everybody, she says we get shit done, but she doesn't leave it at that. You have to define the behaviors and let people
Mm-hmm.
see what this looks like. And I think that is a big part of building a vibrant culture, one that's lit.
Absolutely.
Like I know what that looks like. So let's just read this. It says they are accountable, hello, for their work. And everywhere I go, accountability is a problem, Nicole. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, we have to spell it out. Do not leave people hanging. She said that before. Solve
Mm-hmm.
problems first, then figure out how to avoid them. Demonstrate willingness. And Lee, let me share this with you. Mike Kernacki wrote a book, and I love this definition of willingness because people, I don't know if they understand what it is, but he said in his book, willingness is the ability to do what needs to be done without reservation, refusal, or judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And that just
I
sings to
love
my
it.
heart, right? So
Love
I
it.
didn't want to slip right past these awesome core values in your example in the book. I think they're fantastic. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Actually,
And then
they've evolved since this moment in time, but yes, now,
okay.
yeah,
Okay. All right. So the next chapter you go into, when millennials thrive, and our millennials, wow, now they're like
40.
30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've got a son who's on the very end of the cusp,
Yeah.
as a millennial, and he is thriving. But
Mm-hmm.
talk about how to get those people that are probably and
Now
he's
it's Gen Z, right? Yeah.
yeah, but he's in a leadership role
Mm-hmm.
and how to get those folks to do. Talk about professional development and
Mm-hmm.
feedback. These are huge
Yeah.
things that people need. And we're on
Huge.
page 72 and 73.
Okay. So first, I wrote this. My first book was Millennials in Management,
Mhm.
which was when everyone was complaining about millennials. Now everyone's complaining about Gen Z.
Oh,
And my whole point on this is where my degree in medieval history plays a really helpful. We've been complaining about the next generation since before
forever.
time. since with the dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus Rexes were complaining about their children. So this is nothing new. We think we're like inventing, disdain for the new generation. We are not. Everyone complains. So, and particularly in America, we have this idea of the American dream that our children will have it better off than we do, and we can debate that all day if that's possible or not. But I'm the last year of Boomer, so I'm a Boomer Xer kind of thing, right? And I grew up in a family in a certain way. We're expected to work,
Yes, me
white
too.
collar family. We, da da da. And number one, the and I was so much less diverse at that time in terms of who went to college and then who got white collar jobs. Today, that's so different. We are less white than we've ever been. We are more white today than we will be tomorrow. I just want to say that. And we're more white today than we will be in a month and a year, because that's just what the world is doing, right? That's just the world. And, when I grew up, I was Irish, English. So, and my father was, this is important. My mother grew up very clenched teeth, and my father grew up as a potato farmer, potato famine, second generation import, or I guess third, from Ireland, couldn't be, so disadvantaged, all the things. Clash of cultures. That's what we would have called diversity when I was growing up. Right?
That's right.
Truly, truly. Oh my God, she's Irish American, Irish Catholic, and Episcopalian. How did that happen?
Oh,
And
God forbid.
God forbid. So, that was like at that time. Now, that's just so cute now to think about, right?
Right.
But we are all so we're super diverse, and we have different expectations for our lives, and our expectations have risen over time in terms of where our agency is, meaning our personal agency. So when you can, my point on this was, when you can make the youngest generation in your workforce, help them thrive, everybody benefits because they get more. And it could be irritating that you didn't get that when you were their age, but
Oh,
just
and
shut
that's what
up.
I hear everywhere I
Just
go.
shut up.
They didn't do this for me. I'm like, well, they
Yeah.
should have.
Well, they shoulda,
Right.
right? They shoulda. So stop complaining. Your job in this, I mean, I come from this point of view, is our job in this world is to leave it better than we came into it. So
100%.
that's our job. They were dumb, right? And look at all the waste. And now look at all
That's
the
right. The
opportunity we
guy
have
in the
today.
elevator again. See that?
How much opportunity there is when you actually so my first book, I basically almost killed my company because I thought, when I hired that's another podcast, but I hired these millennials. I didn't have any millennials in my company. I hired When I say we hired six, sort of within 2 or 3, maybe a month of each other. They were all gone in 8 weeks, all gone. In my career, I had never had that many people leave me in a year, even when I had 1,000 people on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And so they were all gone in 6 months. Now, if they in 1 month, if they had, petered out over time, I would not have noticed it. But they all left within a month of each other. They hadn't been there. Most of them hadn't been there 3 months. It's like, what the hell just happened? And we were just treating them like we treated everybody else who was minimum 10 years older than them. Oh my God. What the hell just happened? And then when I dug into it, everyone was complaining, millennials are terrible, millennials are entitled. I'm like, and then I'm like, that's stupid. Everything was negative. There's 80 million people cannot all be entitled. It's impossible.
That's exactly right.
Everyone was complaining. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to read any of this crap. I'm going to go do my own research. And the own research was their parents told them not to put up with shit. And what their definition of shit was how we were working. We were working in a way that was so much better than where we came from, but they didn't have that understanding. Truly, my agency was like breaking down all these rules from old agencies. And everyone who had been at other agencies was so excited to be in this environment. And then we brought people who had never worked before into it, and they're like, this is terrible. Right. And I had to we had to dig into what matters. And then I found out what matters. It matters to everybody. What is my role? I want to know my role. Don't just tell me what to do. Make me understand. Help me understand it.
Right. Don't just read the job description or the job
Right?
placement ad and think I understand. Right.
Because I said so was a way of doing work. It is no longer a way of doing, unless you're, someone's going to die, because I said so doesn't work. So that's a huge shift. And when we all are in, because I said that doesn't work, everybody benefits. It is a huge shift in mindset, and we've gotten there, right? And basically, we've gotten there. And now millennials are complaining about the Gen Z. This is not new, but it's this. But and then really, I really, somewhere in the book, I talk about the problem. Two things are big problems. One, social promotion, which has become in education, and great inflation on that. Great inflation over right before this book was published in 2017, great inflation had increased almost universally across the country in high schools and college by 1.5 points. So if you were a 3.5, you were a 5. So, and they got A's and A's and A's and A's, and their parents negotiated better grades, and their parents got involved, and helicopter parents are a thing. Please go away. And they get into the real world and they realize this isn't done. It's good enough. No, it's not. It was good enough in college. Yeah, well, that's crap. I cannot send this to the client. Therefore, it's not good enough. Therefore, you need to do it again. Well, I don't want to do it again. If you don't want to do it again, go find a new job. We are not sending subpar work. Our clients are not paying for us for an iteration. They're paying for us to give them
To
something they
blow
can live
their
with.
minds. That's right.
Yeah. And that is not an expectation in most education. They don't put up with it. And we can talk about that, particularly in the last 10 years. Oh my God, oh my God. But, when you said willingness
Yes.
and understanding initiative,
Yes.
I don't
And
get
work
paid for
ethic
initiative.
and
This is what I
discipline.
hear a lot. I don't get paid for
Excellence.
initiative. Yeah, you do. You just don't know what initiative is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, I say all the time, Lee, that people think that this sounds good. And it does kind of sound good. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Oh, wait, wait, wait.
No.
I don't want that. I want people
Yeah.
that go, you know what I think needs doing done? This is what
Yeah.
I'm going to do. Right? That's what we need.
Right. Well, and we got some of that, right? We get that all the time. I have another idea. And I particularly, well, actually, it doesn't have as much. You're right. It doesn't have as much today as it did maybe right before COVID, like before COVID. But people come in like, this is stupid. Let's do it this way. And they sort of up in the apple cart, which I want because everything can be improved. That's one of our values. Everything can be improved. But what I tell everybody, that's like the sixth sentence I say when they join us. You're going to have a lot of ideas on how we can improve. And I want you to improve everything you touch. At the same time, there's a reason we do things the way we do them. And it's really hard to see it until you know all the dependencies. So, my request to you is that you do it our way first, and then we improve it. Because then you have done it our way. So you see where all the like this needs to go to that person. And then he goes, and it may not make sense to you why that has to happen. But then you'll be at least living in the process to say, I have an idea on how we can improve this. But if you just come in and say, we can improve this without honoring all the work that's gone into this, whatever it is we're doing right now beforehand, because it's not like we just like came up with that out of nowhere, is disrespectful. So this is what I ask of you: do it our way first, and then improve it.
100%.
But I want everything to be improved. My expectation is that everything can be improved. And if we have people on our team who don't think they can be improved, they are not on our team. That's why we send all our values to candidates beforehand. Make sure you can live with all this because not everyone can.
That's right. That's right. When I do recruiting, I put it right in the job placement ad and say,
Yeah.
please read this carefully before fully applying for the position.
And then you can tell who didn't read it.
Right, right, right. Because it's like, oh, he didn't like that one. Anyway, yeah, yeah. Well, here's where I want to put a bow on things. Is I love the chapter about because this speaks to being a vibrant culture and again what it is like to experience you as a leader, as a
Mm-hmm.
team, as a company. You say being a good place to be from. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I just love how that reads. That's so
Be
good.
a
So
good place to be from.
yeah, talk about that and then we'll tell everybody how they can find you if they want
Sure.
to get your
Well,
PR genius, get your book.
absolutely. I've said it during this during this interview. You know, you want to be a place people can return to, that
That's right.
people good people want to return to. Not everybody will want to return. Not everyone should return, right? Not everybody can return. But when you've left a good place and you're going to another place to do more good stuff, oh, they came from where? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Oh, she came from Double Forte. That's what I was always looking for when I was
Yeah.
building my company. Here's how I measure our success on that. Do people take us off their resume or not?
Mm.
and they don't. They could, but they don't. And when I get, I mean, I've been around a long enough time, so people go find other, or I help them get jobs. Lee, anybody you send me, I'm going to talk to. That's because of the brand of the company. That's because people know that we have a very high standard, that we work for great companies. Any people would die to work for our roster of clients. I mean, seriously. We work for Tirani, we work for Visa, we work for Intuit, we work for the wine group, we work for, Silver Spring Foods. All these things. People would die for our cluster. So when you can die for, you'd be like, oh my God, that's so great. They can't dislodge us. Try, fine. But when you are a company that has that reputation, you have people who are going to trade on that. So find a place that is good to have on your resume, not because it's like the badge of honor. I made it through. I made it through the war, right?
Right.
Because it follows you. Oh, that place is so toxic. Why'd you stay there so long? You don't want to be in that situation. Oh my God, I heard they did this and this and this. Is that true? Sort of. Okay, you need to know now that we don't do any of that here. So we're going to have to deprogram you first, and that it gets in your way. The reputation of the company you're coming from can either aid you or it can hurt you. It's probably not a zero. It's probably not a zero. So be in a place and go contribute to a place that is good to be from, and you'll have so many more options. And then you can probably go back if you want to.
Yeah, so good. Well, we only got about halfway through this, people. It's the boomerang principle. Here it
But it
is.
reads really fast, I promise.
And it's got pictures for those of you. I don't read books without pictures. Okay, so this will work for you. But the
That's so
boomerang
funny.
principle: inspire lifetime loyalty from your employees, and I think that's all about what building a vibrant culture is all about. So l- basics in here, sprinkled with Lee's personality, which I absolutely adore. We're like sisters from another mother, so I love that. So Lee, if people want to bring you their product for
Yeah.
public relations purposes, where should they find you? Where can we find you?
You can find me probably double-forte.com is the agency, and leecaraher.com is my personal stuff. I am
Okay.
easy to find. Easy to find. There aren't that
Okay.
many Lee Carahers in the world. So
Okay. All right. And guess what? It'll all be down below. And while you're down below looking for her information, would you just please like this episode? And would you do a girl a favor and leave a little love note for myself and Lee? We'd be grateful. We need approval and support, people.
we all need support. Support a girl. Support a girl, people.
That's right. Okay.
This is what the bobblehead says. Support a
That
girl.
That's it. That's it. All right. Well, it has been awesome to be with you, Lee. Thank you so much for being on the Build a Vibrant Culture podcast. Everybody, have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday when we drop another great episode.